Well, this is Santa Sam, the king of the Angry Patriots. Are you tired of the political games? Uh-huh. The broken promises? Uh-huh. Are you ready for a beacon of free-thinking light? Well, get ready to unleash your blues. Uh-huh. This is the Why I'm Angry podcast, and it starts now.
All right, it's the Why I'm Angry podcast. Make sure you're getting on whyimangry.com, checking us out, sharing us, liking us, all that good stuff. This is the chef here in the Freestyle Man Cave studio. I got Jboots here with me tonight. Woo!
Hello.
One thing I wanted to get kind of go over with you guys a little bit before we got really moving is you guys, when we say we're on like all of the podcasting channels, like your favorite podcasting channel, we pretty much mean that. We're on Spreaker, we're on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, Amazon, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Geo7, which I don't even know what that is, but that's something. And just all of the different places. We're on about 3 other ones that I don't have on this screen that we've added since then. So really, if you want to find us, just type it in to your Google bar and it will pop up. So Jboots, we're here tonight, just the two of us, just gonna rock it out old school style, right?
Yeah.
So first thing I saw, there's been a lot of different newses over the last week. The my Columbus Crew won the title in pretty amazing fashion.
Raise the roof.
Stomped on those guys from LA, and weren't really given a chance. I liked that the announcers were all out there going, "I can't believe this! I can't believe how the Crew are just so ahead right now. They're just controlling everything." At one point, like, the Crew had 72% possession, and LA had like 28% possession. And they're like, even at that point, they're like, "Yeah, they're pretty good without possession. Yeah, every team plays real great without the ball." Like,
right.
They're doing real great. But anyhow, this is not a podcast about, my favorite teams and things of that nature, especially when Lady D's on. But, so the first headline we've got tonight is the Israel tunnel operation. I think some lessons can be learned here from Israel. Israel, how they've been talking about all of these tunnels in Gaza and all of that good stuff. And, sorry, I'm working on something here. And so they've been talking about all these tunnels and how hard it's going to be for Israel to get rid of the Hamas presence. It is Hamas, right? It's Hamas.
Yes.
Yes. The Hamas presence in Gaza. Well, I think they've got it figured out because they are now pumping millions of gallons of the Mediterranean Sea into the network of tunnels underneath Gaza.
Now, why would they do this?
To get the Hamas group out of the tunnels, basically.
Oh.
If you want to get your rats out of your sewer system, you flood your sewer system.
So, did the ancient Romans teach them that trick?
I don't know. I don't have any history of the ancient Romans flooding their sewer systems to get rats out. But I would think that they may have done that because it does seem like a fairly intelligent way to get rid of your rats problem.
So Hamas cannot survive underwater for very long?
I think it's the fact that the human body can't survive for more than hours or so much time underwater without special apparatus that probably Hamas hasn't really thought about having.
Well, that seems like torture, and I'm pretty sure we don't want to torture our enemies.
Why? Did we say that? Is that part of our Geneva Convention, or is that?
Well, because you want to be nice, right?
We're definitely. I think we're past that point.
Everyone's equal, I think, is the new standard.
Everyone was born equal. Now, the evil in your heart has made you less equal. I mean, that's just my thoughts on the matter. Is that just maybe don't go out and behead and kill 2,000-3,000 innocent victims. Maybe don't shoot up. Maybe don't shoot up a crowd that is hanging out at a music festival. Maybe don't do those things, and your life, your liberty, your pursuit of happiness doesn't end in a quicker fashion. Maybe Israel doesn't come and say, "I am bringing this come to Jesus meeting to a halt right now."
Oh, wow.
I'm going to arrange the meeting between you and Jesus right now.
Yes.
So yeah, they're pumping gallons and gallons of 300-mile long infrastructure used by Hamas to transport supplies and personnel. So basically, I mean, it's like it's like Sherman burning the railroad.
Yeah.
And people are going to not get supplies, and unfortunately, there are going to be some casualties because Hamas isn't playing fair in any. They're not feeding their people. Like these supplies that we're sending them to, the aid that we're giving them is not going to the people of Gaza Strip. They're not going to the Palestinians. It's going to Hamas. Like Hamas is only in it for themselves. And this isn't like a terrorist attack like 9/11. Like I've told you guys, this is not a terrorist attack like 9/11. This is a war.
Yeah.
Like when we had a terrorist attack in 9/11, Osama bin Laden was smart enough to realize that he needed to go find a hole and not come back and attack us again to save himself from dying that day. Hamas has not figured that out. They're still lobbing rockets into Israel. They're still shooting rockets at U.S. Navy ships. This is not a terrorist attack. This is a war.
So do you think Hamas is a little bit more stronger and more organized than Al-Qaeda ever was?
I think they're more well-funded.
Yeah.
I also think they are more well-equipped. And I think, unfortunately, that a lot of that comes back to roost on us.
Mm-hmm.
Being the world's largest ammunitions and gun dealer on the black market.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, I think, kind of like how we talked about last week for half a second about Venezuela taking over Guyana, which is not in Africa. But we bought the gas. You're enjoying this $2.70, 60, 80 cents. If you're in California, this $4.99 gas. Enjoying the lower prices. Well, it comes with consequences for someone in the world.
Yeah.
The fact that we don't drill our own gas, our own oil to make gas and refine our own stuff, has all the consequences. I mean, so yeah, I think that, even though Joe Biden and Israel's prime minister appeared together to talk over the future of the Gaza Strip, there is no future of the Gaza Strip. The Gaza Strip is now Israel. It's part of Israel. There's no Palestine. There's no Palestinian state. They had a chance to be a separate but equal member in Israel for, 6 or 7 years, 10 years now? Mm-hmm. And they effed it up. You don't go kill like a percentage of the population of another country, of the country that is allowing you to have a free state. That's like Georgia basically saying, we've had a good ride. Let's go kill half of South Carolina.
Yeah.
We just hate South Carolinians. And for no good reason, we're just going to go kill them. Because they're from South Carolina.
Yeah. That doesn't make any sense.
Based on religious beliefs.
That makes it worse.
It feels worse, doesn't it?
It does.
So yeah, but I did see this and I thought, that's not a bad idea. Why didn't we do that in Afghanistan? Oh, that's because it's a desert. There's no water. There's nothing. There's nothing there. Except for beautiful mountains and desert. Bunch of sand. Some camels. Lots of camels. Yeah. Old cars.
I'm pretty sure there's a Dollar General over there.
There's like 85 Dollar Generals over there. I mean, they're opening 22,000 more Dollar Generals in Afghanistan this week.
Yeah, and 4,000 more on the Gaza Strip.
That's right. There's a lot of open real estate in the Gaza Strip now for Dollar Generals.
They're just going to have the premium version where the shelves are actually fully stocked and you don't have to go hunting through their boxes that are just on the cart or on the floor. Yeah, it's going to be the nice ones.
They're building primo versions of it. Yeah,
they're going to have like a cafe and like an upstairs.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. They're going to have.
I'm
currently looking at how many Dollar Generals are in Afghanistan. They do have Afghanistan Dollar Generals, and they're hiring people too. So if you want to work for Dollar General in Afghanistan, it's a hiring job.
We'll put the link in the description.
We'll you can follow, like, and share it. Man. So, yeah, they're opening, another 7,000 stores in the next year or so here. So, if you want to be indoctrinated with the Dollar General in Afghanistan or the Gaza Strip, I'm sure you can get one.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, no, I saw that and I thought, wow, that's actually fairly intelligent. I mean, if we could have done that somewhere, maybe in Vietnam, that'd have made a lot of sense.
Or Cincinnati.
Just get rid of yeah. Well, the rat population in Cincinnati is. Oh well, those poor Tide Pod guys.
At least we have Joey Votto.
He retired. Sorry. Did you? We're gonna jump ahead. Speaking of this, did you see the Shohei Ohtani contract? So Shohei Ohtani, you know who he is, right? He's the Chinese Chinese guy that basically is Babe Ruth. He wins 20 games, hits 50 home runs, plays right field or center field while pitching.
Mm-hmm.
Not while pitching, but on the days off. And so they gave him a $700 million contract.
Sure.
For the Dodgers. but he is now deferring $680 million of that $700 million contract to 2034.
Okay, why?
For 10 years. Basically because right now he can make millions and millions of dollars on endorsement deals, so he doesn't need the money.
Right.
He's been making decent money with the Angels.
I forgot about them.
Cardinals, Angels. I think it was with the Angels. Yeah, Mike Trout, Angels. Yeah. So, anyways, he's been making quite a bit of money with them, and so his endorsement deals are going to just go up because he's with the Dodgers. The Dodgers are one of the top 5 organizations in baseball, and so he can kind of push that back to when he in 10 years. You don't know what he's going to have left in him because he's playing basically as 2 players in a season. He's playing as a pitcher and a regular field player in the season. Like, he had just hurt his arm and had to finish out the season on the DL because of arm surgery.
I heard that.
So he could be like Bobby Bonilla and be like the 3rd highest player paid on the Pittsburgh Pirates. And Bobby Bonilla hadn't played in a minute, like 20 years almost now. And still, this year, Bobby Bonilla was like 3rd or 4th highest paid player on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Joey Votto is going to be the highest paid player on the Cincinnati Reds for at least 5 years or so.
Oh, yeah.
Ken Griffey Jr. is getting paid by the Cincinnati Reds in perpetuity.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I don't even know how long his contract is. It's into the 30s also. But,
well, good for him.
So yeah, $700 million. And the reason the real reason he does that is so that they can continue to get stars and put them around him. So they're not like salary cap tied.
Yeah. So that is one way to build a ball club.
Like his hit on the salary, to buy everybody. Yeah. That's why we hated the Yankees. Now they try to buy everybody and they still can't win.
Right.
But that's if you're a team that can afford to do that, and honestly, I guess the leveraging that they that over the next 10 years that he's going to make them basically $700 million worth in player rights and name rights and
for sure,
jersey sales and all kinds of other things, that I was just
I wish him the best.
It's just a crazy amount of money for a baseball player.
Absolutely.
Like, you think about it, back in the 80s, your highest paid players were, maybe making 5 to 10, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
My great uncle was making like 5 to 10,000 a year pitching for the Tigers and the Browns. That was in the 50s and early 60s, but so much so that even now he's like he has to own his own real estate company to actually, to retire on and stuff like that. He gets a small pension from baseball, but because their contract setup was so small, they, guys like Cal Ripken Jr. and stuff like that are only set because, they were smart and they bought into MLB instead of, spending all of their cash. Guys like, Darryl Strawberry and everything that, smoked it all and, snorted it all and all that are, sitting on whatever, pension that they have left. And if they were smart enough to put some in the savings account in that 4%. Yeah. So, but $680 million sounds like a decent amount to retire on.
It's workable. It's definitely something to look into.
I mean, and he's only, I don't know, 22, 23. Guess I should have looked that up ahead of time and prepared more for the show. Jeez.
At least he's got a good guy.
Why don't you do something?
Does he have a good manager?
Life manager or
Yeah.
I don't know.
I heard the kids these days are getting themselves life managers.
Yeah, they're definitely getting into life coaches. So
that's what it is, coaches.
Yeah, they said for the next 10 years, his contract will be just $20 million. So he's still for the next 10 years he's still making more money than a relief pitcher. Right. Than your like standard relief pitcher who's making like 1.2, maybe 1.3 at the best. You know, if he's a closeout pitcher or something like that, or you know, he's a long range pitcher. But yeah, so in 2023 or 2033, he has the final $5 million of his signing bonus paid to him. In 33 to 35. In 21 to 23 includes. He gets the deal. Oh, that's Betts has the deal. Okay. So, yeah, he's got $20 million over the next 10 years. Otani agreed. Calls for an annual salary of $70 million, but they're deferring the $70 million. He's only going to get $2 million of each of it, and defer the $68 million each year till 2034, all the way to 43.
Really?
So in 2034, when he signs his next contract, because he'll only be, I don't know, like 14 years old. I mean, he's like 5 years old right now.
Benjamin Button?
Okay, let me see the rest of it. Yeah, he's 29. So in 10, 11 years, he's not going to, I mean, he's going to be in retirement age. I thought he was about 24. But so if he plays like Brady and baseball, I mean, he's doing a ton. So I would almost doubt that, you know, they're going to get good value off of him for the next 6-7 years, and then he's going to start to fall off. Yeah. But if he plays like Brady and gets to 40 or 41 or 42, and maybe he just goes straight to, you know, goes to pitching only or something like that, where, you know, he doesn't have to play every day, or he bats DH or something like that for the last 5 years or so. He's going to be getting $68 million. As a cleanup, as a scrub player, or as a retirement player, basically. And then whatever contract he signed, you know, so if he signs like a $2 million or $3 million contract, or a $5 million a year contract for the last 5 years of his life, well, not his life, but his career in baseball, yeah. You know, till 41, 42 or something like that, he's still going to be making $68 million plus the 5, or plus, you know, so $70 million. And he's a Japanese player. He's not a Chinese player. I'm sorry. But, yeah, so he just, I mean, generational wealth right there. Yeah. Guy's not, I mean, to be able to defer it, because you know, as a player, over the next whatever years, you know, you can't, you know, he's going to get a bunch of endorsement deals. He's already got giant endorsement deals. Right. He's probably making, you know, at least 10 to 15 million at least on endorsements just in the U.S. and probably in Japan. I would say he's got to be making anywhere from 20 to 50 million in Japan on endorsement deals. So right. He's probably making just about that. I mean, like, you can't spend 60, 70 million every year. I mean, you can buy the house, you can buy the other house, you can buy that other house, and there's other 5 or 6 houses. But after you've bought all those houses, I mean, you're still like, I mean, what, 25-30 million dollars into houses?
Right.
And then you can buy that, that car and this car and, but at the end of the day, you've got $100 million worth of cars and houses, and he's making 70 million a year. I mean, he's just basically buying like what we would buy a Ford Focus or something.
Right. Or yeah, a couple street tacos.
Right. Right. Oh, yeah. All right. Well, let's get back to actual stuff that matters. So, the UK revives their Rwanda plan.
There was a
Yeah,
plan.
there's a plan. So,
Ooh.
British lawmakers have revived and revised a bill to deport some asylum seekers to Rwanda.
Oh,
Just soak it in.
that's
Soak that in.
odd.
Yeah. So they passed a bill about a month ago. The nation's high court struck down a previous draft of this bill or this policy that would have sent asylum seekers to Rwanda. And they struck down the bill because Rwanda was not a safe country and could expose the UK to liability under international law. Basically, I mean, I don't know if you like followed this very much, but basically they're trying to make it so that people don't want to come to the UK and seek asylum.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. So
rough.
there's a lot of people who have basically it says the April 2022 law, which is the law that they're running back to, was designed to deter the steep rise in the smuggling of immigrants who arrived in the UK on small boats across the English Channel. The law was created and funded with $180 million to support the potential thousands of asylees the UK would transport to Rwanda. So the program was paused amid legal challenges last summer to circumvent last month's High Court ruling. The new legislation declared Rwanda a safe country. So now the bill must undergo debate before its final approval. So, yeah. So I mean, as a as a person who wants to think outside the box, find solutions where solutions need to be found. I feel like this might be a great solution for us, for the UK. It's kind of like we talked about a few months back about sending, so many people to, send them to a penal colony. Make some of these people who are, these people who are coming over here illegally, just ship them off. And the UK has done this. I feel like the UK is really making a great statement for all of us. The UK has, they left the European Union. They have, fired countless prime ministers who were not doing what they wanted them to do. And now, kind of like we talked about, let's send them to Australia where they can be killed by anything.
Yeah.
That we could just send them off to someplace special. And so Rwanda seems like an out of the box way to think about it, but I like it.
Yeah, it hasn't been done in a while, so it's good that they brought it back.
Yeah, this will bring Rwanda back.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that the whole genocide thing and all of that is done. It's
It's only been what, 20 years, 25 years? What has it been? When was
uh
people forgive
it
and
doesn't
forget?
say, but it says that they've the Congress has said, or their Parliament has said that it's safe there.
For Dollar General or
Um, for people in general.
so? Oh,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah, this is great. On Google, what is Rwanda known for? What is
Ooh.
Rwanda most famous for? It's
Oh
known
boy.
as the land of 1,000 hills. Rwanda's stunning scenery and warm, friendly people offer unique experiences in one of the most remarkable countries in the world. It is blessed with extraordinary biodiversity, with incredible wildlife living throughout its volcanoes and, and mountain rainforests and sweeping plains.
I can see that. They do have a pretty big national forest. Wow. All right.
What
I
is
mean, so
Rwanda
maybe I'll
known
go
for?
visit.
What is Rwanda? The friendly people offering unique experiences. I mean, like chopping day,
Well, they're kind of close to Lake Victoria.
like blood diamond.
They're
Uh, yeah, okay. Well,
they're kind of near Uganda and Tanzania.
I mean, the whole fact that they just basically wiped out a whole tribe of human beings. I mean, that's
It was brutal.
yeah. It was like it. What they didn't have guns. They were like spears and knives and stuff,
Yeah,
and people
it
were
was
just chopped.
gory.
Yeah, yeah. Anyhow,
Whew.
let's send them. They can't. I mean, it can't be. It can't be worse than the country they came from. So yeah, send them to Rwanda. Oh man, but it is. I do applaud them for thinking out of the box, for all of that good stuff.
That is a new way. Yeah, that is a new way of
I
thinking.
mean, heck, if we weren't so seeker friendly, user friendly anymore, politically correct, whatever you want to say, it would be a great idea for. I mean, we even had this idea like what 3 weeks ago. Me and you were talking, and we were like, well, what if we made an island or started a penal colony and we sent him there?
Yeah.
We could be like Russia that just lost a guy into one of the harshest penal colonies. That was, I mean, it's just coincidence that he was a political dissident. We didn't mean to lose him.
Right. It was an accident.
It was definitely an accident. He was in a nice posh, just outside of Moscow, just a posh place in the penal colony system, which I'm not sure that there is such a thing as a posh, penal colony in Russia. I'm sure some are better and worse than others, just like anywhere, but I'm not sure that they're great. They may not be like they were in Germany or anything, but I'm sure that they're not a happy place to be. So,
I
but yeah, I mean,
imagine.
we just lose that guy. It's cool. We're not trying to kill
It's
off
fine.
our political opponents.
He's one guy.
Put him in jail or anything like that. We're not trying to cripple our political opponents. Wait a second.
Safety first.
Does that seem like something that we're hearing about here? We're not doing that here. This is a first world country. We don't do that here.
Yeah, we're better than that.
We're way better than that. We don't try to incarcerate our political opponents or anything like that.
As if
we don't weaponize our tax operation to cripple the funding of other political campaigns.
We have standards.
We do. Anyhow, so there's an abortion pill out. Is being challenged. Basically, the Supreme Court yesterday agrees to weigh in on the lower court ruling that weakened the Food and Drug Administration's 2016 to 2021 decisions to make the abortion medication mifepristone widely available. Basically, it's like the day after pill type thing, and you can take it anywhere. They authorized it to be taken up to 10 weeks into gestation. And it's been used by more than 5 million people since 2000. I mean, we complain a little bit about not having enough workforce, and we're killing 50 million babies a year plus 5 million so 55 million, and then we're saying, well, why don't we have anyone to work at McDonald's?
Yeah, can we get the ice cream?
I'm sure that's insensitive or whatever, but whatever. The High Court will review an August ruling from the Federal Appeals Court that upheld the lower court's restriction, which includes removing access to the medication by mail and shortens the time frame from 10 weeks to 7 weeks. And so the Federal Appeals Court found that the FDA didn't follow procedures when loosening regulations. Have we not seen this? No, we've never seen this before either. This hasn't happened before, like with some certain vaccines or other things that, other medications like your antibiotics or anything like that.
No.
So, yeah, the Supreme Court is expected to take up the case in the spring, decision likely late June.
Where's Peyton when you need him?
Right?
Gosh.
On top of this, there has been a breakthrough on morning sickness. So maybe if there was less morning sickness, we wouldn't need the pill so much. Maybe that's why they're taking the morning after pill, because they just don't want the morning sickness. It disturbs their life too much, and so.
Man.
So anyhow, Cambridge researchers
hitting the nail on the head right there. Boom.
So Cambridge researchers discovered a single hormone produced by the fetus is the major cause for morning sickness. The persistent first trimester nausea and vomiting that affects more than 2,000 pregnant ladies, pregnant women, because that's the only people who can be pregnant.
What constitutes
the breakthrough is expected to help prevent the condition as well as help people with the most severe form of the condition, which often leads to weight loss, dehydration, and miscarriage. Basically, this GDF 15 prompts pregnancy nausea, which they've known for a long time, actually, that it does that. But they've just now found out that it is part of the cell, the part of the hormones in the actual placenta, and part of what the fetus is actually producing some of that. So I'm sure they're going to try to neutralize that, which probably neutralizes something else in the fetus that it needs and creates something completely different. We're going to have like green babies or something. I don't know. Not sure how that's how that works, but
that'd be sweet.
Yeah. Anyhow, they've got this. They made the breakthrough. They figured out the information, and hopefully, some ladies will not have morning sickness, and it won't bother their child's coming through.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So new breakthrough.
They got right.
They're doing some things.
Cool.
The NFL announced that it's going to play a game in Brazil. And then it's going to expand its 2025 slate of games to 9. Woo! And Bill Belichick is going to be without a job for the first time in 23 years.
Poor guy.
Yep. Be out on the market looking for a team that wants to play a certain style, maybe lose, maybe win, but maybe lose without a Tom Brady.
You think Tampa will pick him up?
That would be great. Tampa, it's time to win again. Let's get Bill Belichick.
Let's get him down here.
Get him down here. Re-sign Gronk. And
he's bored out of his mind.
I don't, not to get too much into sports again, but I don't know that it's really his fault, because Kraft does not, the owner, Robert Kraft, does not pay anybody anything. Like, he just isn't going to pay you a bunch of money unless you're Tom Brady, and then he pays you the league maximum, and that's it. He's not going to figure out, and even half the time through then, Tom Brady had to take a pay cut so that they could bring players on the team. And they never brought like anybody that was, I mean, they're running Danny Woodhead as the running back. They got Amendola, who, yes, he was a good wide receiver, but he wasn't 6'2". He wasn't Randy Moss in his prime. And they brought Randy Moss out of his prime in. And he still couldn't do anything. They still couldn't do anything with him.
Yeah.
But
I liked him.
It's just, they're not going to pay anything for him.
Right. Yeah.
So, unfortunately, the Patriots, for the next, 25, 30 years, until Robert Kraft dies and they get, his son or whoever is taking over afterwards, Kraft Singles, they, then they start paying for some players. They'll win a championship, and then nobody will pay again. I mean, it's kind of like, it's kind of like the Tigers or some of these, mid-tier teams that have a lot of history, like the Bears or something, where they win a championship and then they kind of let it crumble, and they just, like, everybody in the fandom is like, remember back in 1946 when we won that championship? I mean, it's like the Cubs. Remember back in 1908 when we beat the Tigers for the World Series?
Yeah.
That was so great. And you look around and nobody was alive back then. And so, the ownership's finally like, all right, we should probably try to win a championship. Maybe put a little bit of money into this thing. Yeah. Instead of cashing out all the time. But, yeah.
It's one way to organize a ball club.
Yeah. Again, it's another way. If you're, or
if you're taking notes.
If you're taking notes or you're keeping score at home, that's 2 ways to run a ball club. If you're a gamer and you don't like sports ball, Electronic Entertainment Expo, known as E3, is shutting down.
Oh, Bye.
After 28 years. Yep.
Where are they going?
The induction of games on your phone and the falling away of console games has kind of expedited this to where it's just not viable anymore.
Where are they going? Are they going to Afghanistan?
They're shutting it down. Yeah, they're moving with Dollar General to Afghanistan. Yeah. So they held an all virtual in 2021. It was canceled altogether in 2022 and 2023 after they couldn't attract any exhibitors or very many exhibitors. And basically with social media and all the platforms, they can actually drop in at a Comic-Con, or they can drop in at another game expo. They don't have to just, there's not a need to, have one expo that they drop all of their time into, like it used to be. So yeah. I just think they're kind of strategizing that they line up with a big group where they can have a party that they don't have to pay at. I mean, that's because a lot of these Comic-Cons and stuff are you've bringing a major draw to our event, then let's do this. Or a lot of these places are having their, buying and building their own Comic-Cons or their own, expos for, Blizzard or whatever. And they can bring in all of their, nerdy Star Wars people and, all the different genres of games they have. And they can bring in voice actors and, the video game actors, and people are, it's a crazy business. When I was in it and part of the autograph scene on it, like some of the names and autographs that we saw come through was just some of the names that came through in that were we're just like, who is this person? And then you're like, oh, they did, they did the voice of blah blah blah, or they did Wario, or some weird character, some other character, off character, and now those people are they're just it's become a fandom of collecting where you've collected all of the the voice of Mario's or the Goku's or the the Green Ranger or what all of those characters that you loved, and now you're adding to it, kind of like baseball, or like you would in if you had a team signed baseball, you're now getting a cast signed sword,
right,
or whatever. So yeah, it's just kind of a crazy setup where these, and I've even told people, I told people probably 5-6 years ago when I was running with that crowd that eventually the day of privately owned expos will go away, because the companies will see that they can make this much money off of each expo on top of the bottom line. They can control even more of what's going on. And so because they have their own expo, they can take it to all of these cities with exclusivity. We've got the exclusive blah, 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 and we have exclusive signings of blah, blah, blah. And so it just makes a lot more sense that like Disney will have a Star Wars, they have a Star Wars Comic-Con. It's called Star Wars Celebration,
right?
And they now run. It used to be run by Lucas and a Fan Expo group, and now it's run by Disney.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and Topps, which is now
Owned by Disney.
Fanatics.
No.
Fanatics owns Topps.
Yeah.
Fanatics owns everybody in the autograph world right now.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. But anyhow, so if Fanatics wants to, sponsor our podcast, they can. And
Come
we'll
on
talk
over.
more about sports ball. So yeah, it's one of those deals where the whole industry, and I've still got friends that are in it, and they're saying that it's a lot of consolidation right now with, like they said, COVID kind of crushed them, and they just haven't really come back from that. And unfortunately, when you scare people out of gathering in giant groups, your event of giant groups of people is going to go down.
Yeah.
So, on that great note, jury ruled against Google in an antitrust case brought by Epic Games, the maker of a popular video game called Fortnite, if you've been under a rock, finding that the Google Play Store and its billing app requirements constitute as an illegal monopoly.
Oh. How so?
This is where monopoly laws really get me kind of like they upset me a little bit, because I understand that it's supposed to be fair, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not sure that we really when we formed this country, do we say that we the people of America formed this country in a way to make it fair for everyone?
No.
We, the people of the United States of America, hold certain truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. And, that's not even in the Constitution. That's just part of the Bill of, that's just part of the, Bill of Rights, lead up type thing. That's part of the, our emancipation from England.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, it never said that it was fair. It just says that, we all have the equal opportunity to create something that is better than anybody else's thing, or that is equal to anybody else's thing. And we have the level playing field to continue our, whatever we're doing, whatever we create, whatever we make, whatever we do. If me and you are the same, work together in the same company, we should make similar pay if we're doing the same job. Mm-hmm. And we're doing it at the same quality. That should be, that can be, we could say, okay, well, if you made twice as much as me, and you didn't, there was nothing really that made us different, well, then I could say that's not fair. I mean, whether it matters that it's not fair or not, that is always, that's always, whatever it can be. But if I wanted to, if I really wanted to work it out, if I create the greatest product, then it's not a fact that I'm trying to be vindictive against you. I just created a better product than you did.
Right.
So suck it. I mean, this is like the whole Microsoft thing. Like, Microsoft created a operating system. I don't know if you remember this. Most people don't, because I'm old. There was a system called DOS.
Yes.
Like, your computer will just sit there and look at you if you don't put in commands.
Yes.
And so what Microsoft did was they came in and they put in all of the commands for you. Like all of this you see in front of you, like like seeing me, hearing me, all of that is somebody came in, not AI, because we didn't have AI back then, or this kind of AI that we do now. And they basically wrote a program in DOS or whatever programming language they used to do that, with a bunch of ones and zeros, and it does it now. And so it does it for you. Like when I first started in marketing and doing graphic design and stuff, nothing was plug and play. Like you had to literally know how to go in and type in all of the lingo, Java, and all of that basic and all of that stuff for the internet programs to know what to put on the screen. Now I can build a website in about half an hour to an hour and never have put in one line of code. Now, if I did, it would be cheaper, but it would take me so much more time. And I would have to go through and vet it and all of this. So really, to me, it makes just as much sense to charge extra for a website that you can then also work on, which makes a lot more sense. So these people who have created an operating system for do you remember the phones we got back in the day when we were kids? Like it was a flip, and you had to click like 42 times on the 9 button and the 4 button. Like you were literally wearing your buttons out in a year, just trying to text. How's it going? Where are you at? Right. I'm at McDonald's. Why aren't you here? Look at this. Click. If you were even rich enough to have a camera on your phone.
Yeah, you remember when they charged us per message, like per text message?
Yes, 15 cents at some point.
Yeah, and then you were roaming, so then it was more money.
Exactly. It was just like having a home phone. I made a long distance. I didn't know I was in long distance.
Right.
Like it literally said on the top of your phone, roaming.
Yeah.
I felt like I was a pioneer. We were riding horses or something.
Right. Giddy up.
You know?
It was the good old days.
I'm roaming. Like, where's my cattle?
What is this, Yellowstone?
So yes. So Google gets in here and they create an operating system. Now they're not the first, obviously, because we just talked about, Microsoft, and there were other companies like Linux and other guys that went in and created operating systems that weren't as seamless, and maybe they were better because they had more like stuff that you could do. They were more open sourced. There was more things that you could do to create, whatever, to make your experience your own. But Apple's done a great job over the last 20 years of this as keep it small, keep it so that you can figure it out. It's easy to do. Make sure that everything that comes in, Apple's getting sued in the same lawsuit, but every app that comes into Apple's app store gets vetted by Apple to make sure it works on each of the different each of the different platforms it's going to be on. So if it's on a tablet, it's going to work on a large scale on a tablet. It's going to work on a computer. It's got, the different, touch screen and non-touch screen and stuff like that. It'll take in keystrokes and stuff. And so what gets me about this is because because the Android phone and the Apple phone are the two big carriers, they're going to get hit by saying, well, you were vindictive against our app because we're not part of the Google sphere. You didn't market us as much as the Google games. you charged us more than you charged yourself for the games. I mean, unfortunately, if you're charging yourself, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you make your own game, like, yes, it isn't fair, but go out and create your own operating system.
Right.
I mean, Google created their own phones.
They did.
They couldn't. They wanted to be able to create their operating system the way they wanted it, and to work the way they wanted it. Like otherwise, like Samsung is creating their phones to work with their operating system.
Mm-hmm.
And then people are trying to create games that work on all of these billion different phones. Well, Google went out and created phones. Go out and create your own operating system.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a free country.
That's what they tell us. They tell us that. But then if you create the greatest thing or the best thing out there, even if there's something else out there, like there's been 3 or 4 times over the last like year and a half that aviation companies have been trying to buy other smaller but good-sized aviation companies. They wouldn't even create the largest aviation company in the world and still got hit with antitrust laws. Like, have I missed something? Isn't the antitrust so that you can't...
So you can't do that?
You can't become a monopoly, which would be that you had the majority stake in the world scene and you could control the way that the prices went.
Right.
Not that I have a company big enough that I can control whatever price I want to put on it. Because that's supposed to be the freedom of owning your own company, is that you're supposed to be able to put the price that you want on it. And if you do that, then people can decide with their hard-earned dollars, with their own brains, whether they go to your company.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, what they've decided, what Congress and Parliament and all of these heads of states have decided is that you don't have a brain in your head. And so that you're not going to decide, you're not going to make a good, educated, or informed decision to decide not to go to JetBlue because they've now raised their prices by triple because they're not part of their own company of discount flying.
Right.
That you're just going to trust that JetBlue's the lowest and you're going to pay the $1.5 billion that it costs to get a ticket. And by doing that, they will control the low airfare market. Raising prices for everyone. And that's what they're saying here, is because they had their own games and they could distribute their games cheaper and freer than any other game. And they could advertise their games because it's their platform. And they could advertise their games on a higher scale because it's their platform. That they're being aggressive and levying exorbitant fees and stifling the competition. Create your own platform. Create your own platform. Or don't sell it on their platform. Because I don't know if you know this, but you don't have to buy your games from Google. From Android. On my Android phone, I don't have to get my apps from Android. Samsung has their own platform for getting your apps.
Yeah.
So Epic Games, make your own platform for getting apps, which you did. If you can't advertise it as well as they can, that's not their fault. They're an advertising company that got into gaming. Why don't you be a gaming company that gets into advertising?
Diversify.
Right, because a company saw it faster than you and got ahead of you, and because they diversified and just does it better than you because they're bigger, stronger, faster, whatever.
Yeah.
We don't create better companies by saying, you're too big, the little guys can't win. We don't create better companies by that. We don't create a better country by that. This is why we have people who don't identify as anything. Because we've allowed it.
Yeah.
Because we can't bully those people anymore, which is sad to say, but because they don't learn that there is actual value in being the best, being the strongest, being quicker. It doesn't have to be that you're the physically best, strongest person. I mean, Elon Musk is not the physically strongest person. Steve Jobs was not physically the strongest person. They were intelligent people that thought out of the box and got ahead.
And those guys are the guys that run the big, strong guys.
Right. Right.
So they use their brains to hire a muscle guy.
Yep.
And to make them money.
You don't think those guys were motivated by a bully someday?
They were.
One day.
It might have been junior high, might have been high school, might have been college, but they were absolutely.
I'm going to teach you guys. I'm going to teach somebody.
Yeah.
Even it could have been a teacher.
Yeah.
You know, it's not that we've never. You can't go through high school or any like K through 12 or whatever without having that one teacher that said, "Well, I don't think you can make it. You can't do whatever laughs at you for wanting to be a rapper or a video game programmer or a podcaster." You don't think there's somebody back there behind those guys that So if we take those guys away, who motivates us anymore?
Right.
Those teachers that said, you're so good and special. And even if you want to identify as a cat and poop in a box, it's cool.
Who are they shipping the box to?
I mean, I don't know. They should. Like, if it were back in the 80s, they'd have put it on their teacher's porch, lit it on fire.
Send it to send it through DHL.
Right.
Sayonara.
But
you think FedEx has the monopoly on deliveries, or do you think that's moved over to Amazon?
That's why they couldn't buy out UPS a couple years back.
Yeah.
And no one can buy out DHL because then they would be bigger than the other one. And also you can't compete against the U.S. government, USPS, so you can't be almost as big as them.
How dare you?
Don't you get close.
How dare
That's
you
a monopoly.
Try. Yeah.
That's a monopoly.
That's a real monopoly.
I mean, if you've got a company that for the last 50 years hasn't shown any bit of profit but can still run, you probably are the government. Probably.
Yep. That's true.
Maybe. So, yeah.
They just kind of, U.S. government fix it. We'll just throw a couple $1 billion at it every year. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah. Speaking of $1 billion,
no.
Pfizer's stocks has been plummeting because people have turned away from the COVID booster.
I wonder why.
So they're down about 44%. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, why you need a vaccine for a virus that you're going to have for the rest of your life because it's a virus in some form or fashion in your body. It will be there because it's a virus and they're not curable. They're viruses. And so you're going to survive 99.6% of the time, but I need
only if you wash your hands.
Booster, go outside. To what is this vaccine going to? What, like, I'm going to add this virus back to me in a stronger strain and different, like.
How do you get a monopoly on viruses?
Like Pfizer just did. Talk about the monopoly, like
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
free check. Don't worry about what it does to people in the next 50 years. It's emergency. It's emergency.
Oh, thank you, World Health Organization, for your nonsensical approach to everything.
I mean, you want to crush Trump in the election. Thank you, Donald Trump. But
He had anything to do with it.
so he's decided to die on that hill though, and that's
Yeah.
that's the
That's
sad
where he's
thing.
at, man. He loves that
So
little hill.
look at what we did. It was huge. We got this run through so fast. Anyhow,
It's fantastic.
did you see lawmakers in the House voted yesterday to voted along party lines to approve an impeachment inquiry into President Joe Biden over allegations of financial misconduct.
We're not going to do anything about it.
No. I mean, at least they're starting to do something. Like, the House kind of showed that it was inept and couldn't do anything over the last 4 months. Now it's finally trying to,
and then it'll just
get itself reelected.
Well, we submitted a paper. We submitted a document. And that's going to be it.
Yep, during meetings with foreign. Basically, they're upset about the meetings with foreign. I mean, like, what hasn't he done wrong? He, like, weaponized the FBI and the IRS. Thank you. All I could think of was the NRA, and I was like, I mean, they are kind of weaponized, but weaponized the IRS. He's gone again. Like they're looking into inquiries in the 300 people that they have put in jail for the uprising on January 6th. Like, I mean, I like trusting the government at this point. Like that's the other thing is that the government has like a 73% untrustable approval rating or whatever. I don't know how you say that even. Like they're just like 73% of the nation does not trust the government.
Is that just at the federal level, or is that?
That's like, yes, that's the federal government, and then your state it's lower. It was like 40% on average that they don't trust their state government.
So people definitely don't trust the federal level.
They don't trust the federal government one bit.
But we kind of trust the state level.
Yeah, because the federal government came in and waxed out 300 people that may or may not have been in part of a protest or uprising. I'm not here to argue that at this point. But then people who went in and burned federal buildings in St. Louis, they haven't even investigated it.
Right.
They burned out the whole infrastructure of Target in St. Louis and thousands of other buildings, cop cars, everything. Federal property. And there's been, what? How many arrests?
Right. Nil.
Not 300. Not 300. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, they're going to impeach the president, which has become a thing we do every 4 to 6 years, 8 years.
Yeah.
As we get on and we impeach our president. And then
we don't like the way we
look
voted.
Look at us. So. We did something.
We don't like the way that we were told we voted.
We get all up in our feelings again.
Oh, man. What if I change my mind?
Americans like to do that. I don't know. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
It's about as dumb as the morning sickness pill breakthrough.
Yeah. It's right up there.
So, there was some stuff at a Harvard people and UPenn people and one other place. They stupid said some dumb stuff about things. So anti-Semitism couldn't tell them in their testimony on anti-Semitism whether they could what anti-Semitism was and whether it broke their campus bylaws, so that basically the president of each of these Ivy League schools said that unless it became actionable or bullying or a harassment, that they didn't break their bylaws. Which, in all honesty,
I see that it's just kind of sweeping stuff under the rug.
Yeah. In all honesty, anti-Semitism in word, if you don't act on it in any form or fashion, it's hard to say. It's hard to say that it doesn't. That it's not covered under the First Amendment.
Yeah. Unless you're directly attacking a Jew physically or in person verbally, like they have to be like in the same room. Like there's a lot of
like if I said, so if I specifically said to a Jewish man or whatever that maybe he was an opponent of mine or something, that I didn't like him because he was Jewish, or I started speaking, saying some kind of Jewish rhetoric, or saying that because he was Jewish, I was going to fire him or, run over him with my car or assault him in some way, then that could be considered assault. And I guess because of the anti-Semitic laws we have, it would be like a hate crime. So you could say it was anti-Semitic.
Right.
But if I'm standing on the street shouting anti-Semitic terms, as long as I'm peacefully protesting,
right,
I don't know that that's not covered under the First Amendment.
Right. I see what you're saying. But did you get a permit for the protest?
I mean, it's kind of, as long as I pay my dues to the government to be able to say my anti-Semitic rants.
Yeah.
Not that I condone, or not that I would go out and actually, yell things about, for heck, the Palestinians even, that are out there, raping babies and cutting off people's heads, but it's kind of like the 40s and 50s with the KKK, and the early 80s and 90s and 2000s with the KKK, and the 2010s and 2020s with the KKK.
Where are they?
It's kind of like the KKK that goes out and stands on your city steps, and because it's a public place, and because they've paid their dues for the demonstration, honestly, if you don't allow them to talk, you're kind of disgracing the memory of the veterans and those that fought for free speech.
Yeah.
That fought for your right to be able to contradict what the government says.
Mm-hmm.
In a peaceful way. Now, privately, if someone assassinates your leader, that's a consequence that you have to deal with because you have put yourself out there as a racist or a anti-Semitic or whatever, and that's another issue we deal with, and that's illegal also. Not that I'm saying go out and, assassinate leaders of anti-Semitic or the KKK or whoever opposes you. I'm just saying that, the government should hold that as a right that you have.
Should.
And so on these campuses, if you're, they are private organizations. They're not, they are funded by the governments, by the government in some subsidies and stuff like that, but they're making profits. If you don't think that Harvard is making ginormous profits so that with your $250,000 a year tuition or $500,000 a year tuition, then you probably should just hit yourself with a stick and stay out of college, because it's going to feel a lot better for you.
Yeah.
And end up a lot better. Just
overall,
hit yourself about 10 or 15 times with a stick, and just don't go to college. And then just remember that you beat yourself with a stick, how many ever years ago, so that you didn't go to college, and then learn a trade or something and just enter the workforce and make yourself a good living.
Capitalism.
Otherwise, go to college, get indoctrinated, figure out that, you don't want to do political science for the rest of your life, or, psychology, and then change it, live at your mom's house, in your mom's basement for the next 15 years while you're trying to pay off part of your debts, not getting a girlfriend or a family because you can't afford to even get out of your mom's basement and go out and find other people that may be like-minded to you. Like I said, if you don't think they're making profits off you, then just take my advice and hit yourself with a stick. And go on and go to trade school where they'll make profits off of you, but it'll be less, and eventually you'll make profits off of what you learned.
Yes.
That's my PSA for the day.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's go to odd news, because I'm tired of all this. Odd news starts out with a Russian man flies to the U.S. without a passport or a ticket.
How did he even get on a plane?
Don't even think about him having a visa.
But how did he even board a plane?
They don't even know. They're not sure.
Don't you have to have a ticket to get on an airplane?
He boarded and went through customs at 3 airports.
On his journey from Russia to America.
Yes.
Did he document
left
it?
Russia, which means he had to go through customs to get into Copenhagen.
Yeah.
Then he left Copenhagen, which means he got on 3 different airplanes,
Right.
and ended up in LAX, where he got stopped at customs in the U.S., which
by the TSA.
They're doing something? They stopped the guy? It's probably because he's not Mexican.
Right.
I'm sorry. That's bad. That was wrong. Forgive me. Forgive me, Jesus. Anyhow, so they stopped him in customs and started questioning him like, where's your passport? Where's your visa? Where do you have a ticket? Did you shower today?
Right.
The man started out saying that he had all of his stuff was left on the airplane.
Oh, sure it was.
And then he said, I haven't slept in 3 days. I don't even know how I got on the plane in Copenhagen.
Was he a drug mule?
Likely story. What's that?
Was he a drug mule?
I couldn't tell you. Basically, somehow he got on a plane without a visa or a passport.
I like it.
Or a
This
ticket.
is fantastic.
I mean, I could see how you could get on a plane without your ticket, but I don't know how you get into the airport, how you get through security.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I got into Switzerland without them checking any paperwork, but they did check my ticket.
Yeah.
While I was on the bus or the train.
Yeah.
So from Germany to Switzerland, I could get in without like major paperwork, and probably somehow get in, with maybe I could get through without a ticket. But that's a train, and that's neighboring countries.
Right. And plus, it's Switzerland.
Yeah, it's Germany and Switzerland. It's not like trying to get in the U.S. without a visa or from Russia, from a passport. Yeah. Yeah, they said after investigation, after they started investigating what like him on the plane, he did some unusual things, like he tried to get 2 meals during meal service. Like he was moving around the cabin, like sitting in different seats. He tried to eat some chocolate that was actually belonged to the cabin crew. I don't know why that was pertinent, but it was in there. Yeah, he claimed he had not slept in 3 days and did not understand what was going on.
Okay.
Like I just like walked onto an airplane and I just like.
So he was abducted by aliens, and then he was disoriented.
They're robot aliens. Is this like this? Here it is. I got it. This is a Russian hippie Hare Krishna.
Yes.
He just got into the airport, Hare Krishna style. Like, I'm here to like pass out, like demonstrate my Hare Krishnaism.
Mm-hmm.
And he tripped on some whatever Quaaludes or whatever they do, ayahuasca or whatever, and he probably just came down after, like, that's why he was so hungry. That's why he was eating 2 meals. Like, he was on a 3-day bender, and then somehow, like, this is like, Daryl Strawberry ending up in Florida type thing.
How did I get here?
How did we get here? Why? Where have all the drugs gone?
And then Chevy Chase is in the corner.
Rum gone? What's that?
And then Chevy Chase is in the corner going, I don't know.
We're just trying to get to Minnesota to do a PolkaCon concert.
Good stuff.
Merv over there doesn't even know his child. Oh, Merry Christmas, everyone.
So how's Florida been lately?
So I got a couple Florida man stories. I got a couple odd. So they added 10 new odd records to the Guinness Book of World Records this year. And I thought they were decent enough to make the show.
All right.
So number 1 was the most skips by a cat in 1 minute. Yeah. Talented tabby hailing from Missouri vaulted over a jump rope, 9 times in a minute.
9 times.
9 whole times. That just seems like stupidity. Like, we just added 9. Like, a fat guy in Ohio could go 9 times in a minute over a jump rope.
Because it's a domestic cat.
I don't know. I still think a fat guy in Ohio seems more impossible than a domesticated cat. Like, just get some other domesticated cat and have him jump 10 times. I mean, this seems like a record ready to be broken. You got a cat, Jboots?
No.
Let's do this.
No.
What good are you? No
Not
cat?
much. Nope.
A woman in Maryland claimed the record for the loudest burp. 107 decibels.
Really?
Yeah.
At what frequency?
It doesn't say. It's a small paragraph.
I don't like it.
So, she had a coffee and a beer with her breakfast on the day of the attempt. to ensure maximum volume. The male record is 112 decibel, 0.7 decibels. So
I didn't know there
she
was
is
such a
now
thing.
the female loudest. Yep. The longest distance full body burn run without oxygen was broken this year. A French firefighter, Jonathan Vieiro, 39, donned a protective suit, was set ablaze, and ran on a track in Halberden for 893 feet. He also did 328 feet in 17 seconds, which earned him the second title of fastest full-body burn 100-meter sprint without oxygen.
Sweet.
I mean, think about that. That's probably a sub 5 second 100-meter sprint. Wait, no, that's feet, 300 feet. So that's 100. Yeah, 17 seconds is 100 meters. That's not great, but you know.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was 300 meters that he went in 17 seconds. I was going to be like, some 5 second 100-meter dash.
He's really cooking at that speed.
Yeah, I was going to say that is something. Oh, so the longest tongue of a living dog, Rocky, is a 9-year-old boxer, 5.46 inches. That's a new record.
I thought that'd
The
be
most
longer.
spoons balanced on your body. It was previously held by himself, Adolfazi Saber Makhatari. He's got 88 spoons in various locations. The previous record was 85, held by Makhatari. Mm-hmm. The most magic tricks underwater in 3 minutes. Avery Emerson Fisher, 13. Oh, no, he is 13, and he combined his interests in scuba diving and stage magic to perform 38 tricks in 1 minute while submerged in a tank at an aquarium. That seems cool. 38 tricks in a minute seems like you're just like scamming through the tricks. Like, are you actually doing the tricks, or are you just running through the motions here?
60 seconds.
Yeah, 60 seconds.
I don't buy it.
Tricks. Oh, he's 13 years old. They probably handed him a couple, like, oh, yeah, look at that. That was a trick inside a trick. You did a double trick, 3 tricks, triple trick.
Yeah, tricks are for kids.
That's right. The most people eating a single piece of spaghetti simultaneously is 465 couples in a German restaurant in Berlin.
Okay.
Performed the Italian kiss, made famous by Lady and the Tramp, where you eat the same strand and end in the middle with a kiss. 465 simultaneous kisses.
Wow.
Yeah.
Someone called Disney.
The record before was 433. This group held the record at one time before that.
Oh.
The fastest time to assemble a Mr. Potato Head while blindfolded. I think I could do this. I really do.
38 seconds.
Nope. 12 seconds.
Wow.
Yep. This guy breaks records for a living, I guess. Is Andre Ortolf. Is a serial world record breaker. He has more than 100 titles to his name. He donned a blindfold and fully disassembled Mr. Potato Head toy. Started with a fully disassembled Mr. Potato Head toy. Added his feet, arms, face, hat, to the plastic spud in 12 seconds. That just like that doesn't seem like all that many pieces. Like maybe I could just be done. I think I could do it in 4.
I could probably do it in 5.5.
Yeah. Oh, the longest mustache on a living person. I like that they denounce that it's living and not dead. It's 2 foot 1 inches. It was verified at the National Beard and Mustache Championships in Casper, Wyoming this year. Obviously, when you win the world record, you probably won the championship on the longest mustache beard combination thing. Whatever you got. The fastest 5 meters on a scooter by a parrot. Let's just give everybody a Guinness Book of World Records. Can I get a participation trophy?
Right.
Because, I mean, I'm working on the longest person to breathe consecutively for 40-some years.
Yeah. Good job, by the way.
Participation trophy to me. Thanks, guys. So he went 16.4 feet in 14.58 seconds to break his own record of 17.79 seconds.
Sweet.
Yeah, Bulgarian professional parrot breeder. So yeah, there it is. Your top 10 oddest Guinness Book of World Records this year.
All right. Hit me with a Florida man.
A Kentucky family got their Christmas tree, and 4 days later realized that there was an owl roosting in it.
What kind? First of all, what kind of owl? Was it a barn owl?
It was a Yuletide owl, Christmas tree owl.
Okay.
It was. Oh man,
that's not real.
That's not real. Right. Like, how do you not realize that they're like? How big is your Christmas tree? For one,
right.
Like that, you don't realize that there is a 4 day within 4 days that there is a young owl in your tree.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it says simply blended in with the branches. They have 3 dogs. Like, they didn't even find it. The guy that was cleaning their carpets found it.
Are these people even, like, okay?
Yeah, I don't know. I just, like...
What's the carpet guy say? He's like, "Hey, you guys know you got an owl in there?"
he's like, it took me several minutes to find it. Like, it crawled up into the tree even further.
Ooh.
He's like, I was shocked. I was so stunned.
Ooh.
You know.
Who?
Who had an owl?
Ooh.
It doesn't say what kind of owl. But they said it's not the first time. You know, they discovered a small owl in the Rockefeller Center tree in 2020.
Yeah, well, that makes way more sense.
Yeah, because that's a 25-foot tree in the middle of the outdoors.
The outside place.
Like, how tall was your tree? Like, it doesn't even give us pertinent information. This is a terrible article.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't tell us, like, it was a 13-foot tree. It was there for more than 4 days. It was just all it says is there for more than 4 days, and Magic Carpet Cleaning was servicing their home and found it.
The owl must have been out on a smoke break.
Like, tell us your 1% without telling us your 1%. We had a tree in our house, full live tree, for 4 days before we even realized there was an owl living in it.
That's funny.
They said it's not the first time that they've had owls and animals. A Texas woman made perhaps even more shocking discovery last week when she looked into the branches of her Christmas tree and found a possum looking back at her. Now that's something right there. When you find a possum looking at you, that is an ugly animal. Yeah. Looking back at you in your Christmas tree, you're like, just a second while I go get a stick so I can beat you to death in my house, in my Christmas tree. Why is your Christmas tree a bloodbath? There was a possum. It had to be done.
That's North America's only marsupial.
They are ugly. They don't deserve to be our marsupial. Oh. All right. So, last one that's not a Florida man. There was a lost tomato that was found aboard the space station, the International Space Station, after 8 months.
Like it was off the vine.
Like they grew it in the space station.
They grew it.
It was the first tomato ever grown in space. And Frank Rubio, the astronaut on the space station, had been accused wrongly of eating the tiny tomato, but it's now been found. It was misplaced. Rubio said his life was never the same until they found this tomato, because he had been accused of this injustice, and he was feeling, he's now feeling Shawshank Redemption.
I would imagine so.
Yeah. That he is now cleared of the allegations that he ate the tomato, the first tomato harvested in space.
I thought, okay, never mind. I like it.
They said, I mean, they haven't said how it was, but he's like, because it was so humid up there, I'm sure it was like just moldy and dead. Yeah. So, yeah. Found it.
Was it like a beef steak? Tomato. Cherry tomato, okay.
Cherry tomato, yeah. Because they'll grow anywhere.
I do love a good cherry tomato.
I killed a cherry tomato plant this week in my basement, or this cycle. Yeah. I don't have any grow lights. I didn't buy them yet, so I tried to take it outside when it was warm.
Yeah.
But all right, so on to Florida Man news.
Here we go.
Got a few more minutes left of the podcast here. So a couple headlines. A couple of them are better headlines than they are stories, but here's it is. Florida man sues Reedy Creek over elevator ride at Disney Springs parking garage. Yeah, I've heard the elevator ride is a terrible ride. Don't go get your tickets for the elevator ride. Don't stand in line for 2 hours for the elevator ride.
No, get the fast pass.
Get the fast pass. Because it's not worth it even to really go on the ride, let alone. Yeah, the story is pretty sad. The guy got on an elevator, went up a few floors, and then his elevator lost track of where it was at. He's probably jumping up and down. His kids or something were jumping up and down in the elevator. They lost orientation. The elevator plummeted, 5 or 10 stories, and then found itself, and then plummeted again, or something. So
he reported.
No one died. No one really, it was just like the elevator reoriented itself and then went to the floor it was supposed to, and they got on. So he's trying to sue him for like $50,000 or something like that, which like another trip. Yeah, another trip to Disney. So he can ride the elevator.
Right. I want to come back and ride your elevator.
I need to come back and ride the elevator ride. It's the most incredible ride at Disney.
Forget the teacups.
It'll plummet you 10 stories while you're not even attached to it.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Not to be outdone, Florida man flings objects at a car, whips out a sword during a road rage fight over revving an engine.
So now, are we talking like long sword? Are we talking like a rapier sword? What kind of sword do we know?
Oh yeah,
Like a katana?
yeah, I don't know. The man whipped out a sword during this road rage fight. Guy pulls up to him and starts revving his engine, and they got in an argument. He was arrested and charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon without intent to kill. So this was definitely not like a katana or a ninja sword, because those are sharp and they're intent to kill. Big old rapier or something, it's just gonna blunt force trauma you to death. Yeah, doesn't really say. I mean, come on, where is the reporting integrity? Like they won't just like don't even tell us what kind of sword. Like,
did he buy the sword at Cabela's? Like,
was it even a real sword? Was it a fake sword? Yeah.
Was it when they say sword? Does he mean dagger?
Yeah, like it was like just like it was is it a Hobbit sword?
Was it a letter opener? Like, I mean,
yeah. So I mean, coming through the story, deputies were able to find the guy threw his license plate on the vehicle in a video. There was actually a side swiping, and one of the guys had actually pointed a gun at him, and so then he pulled his sword, which never smart to bring a sword to a gunfight, but whatever.
It's Florida.
Well, I guess he said that one of the guys pulled a gun on him, which then his wife said, no, that didn't happen.
Oh.
So nothing like your wife killing your alibi.
Right. That's sad.
Yeah. Probably not going to be your wife much longer either.
No, that's grounds for divorce, I believe.
For getting your wife in an accident over a But why don't they tell us what kind of sword? Yeah. All right. Well, last Florida man. Florida man sets his shoe on fire to stay warm. Drunkenly passes out in front of an office building. Ended up in jail this week.
Yes. Just one shoe?
Just one shoe. He didn't get to the second shoe. He passed out before the second shoe.
Oh, boy.
The second shoe didn't drop.
I hope he's doing okay.
Yeah, he's doing great. He's warm, and he's fed. He's getting 3 square meals a day, and he's got some clothes that they gave him, and some shoes.
Yeah, like some Hey Dudes.
Sitting in jail, pretty much. Yeah, he's allegedly he set a shoe on fire to keep warm, and he's going through the process, arrested and charged with disorderly intoxication, recreational fires, without a permit. Some free camping going on there.
Yeah.
Yep. His shoe was engulfed in flames when they found him, and is right in front of him. It's just staying warm.
So did he use any kind of accelerant, like a kerosene or anything like that?
It doesn't say. There was a few cans of alcoholic beverages around him. Half full, third left open can, and they had to use an extinguisher to put out the shoe.
I love it. That's the best.
So yeah,
always leaving the Florida mans are always
Florida
leaving
man.
warm.
Yep,
it's warms my heart.
Because at the bottom of this Florida man story, there's a headline: "The Florida man gets agitated by neighborhood Christmas parade, fires off several gunshots." Get out of my yard!
Oh, that's funny. That's good. I like that.
Florida police officer quits after arrest for repeated Walmart thefts. Yep, that's about it.
I like it. Another fine episode.
There was a Florida man that is accused. They're on the hunt for a man accused of making off with an entire cash register from a Walmart. That guy, I almost guarantee that guy didn't have a receipt for it.
Bet you he didn't.
That little old lady didn't even stop him.
What does he think he's getting with the?
She just probably ran, like how much does the guy think he gets at Walmart? Because they don't. It's not like they don't just like throw their deposits underneath or something.
Tap your card, and like, what do you do?
Yeah, not even. Don't even worry about the fact that we don't use cash anymore these days.
Right. Yeah, just swipey swipe, and then
Like, what will people do bank robbery wise if we don't have cash anymore? Like, you kill a whole demographic of thievery if you take away our cash.
Yeah, you just have to learn how to hack into systems. I mean, no one says hack anymore. But.
No, you can't do that. That's tough. That's too much work. That's like me not wanting to, write my own code for a website.
Well, then you'll pay someone. That's why we have Ocean's 11, right?
Right. Sure.
They had to have one more guy to do the job that no one else wanted to do.
Couldn't do Ocean's 10.
We'll get one more.
Jboots, what'd you learn?
I learned that it pays to rob a Walmart.
Pays to rob a Walmart to grab a whole cash register all at once. Yeah. I learned that we're going to miss out again on what you need to earn in the 50 states of the United States to own a home. Just didn't make the cut.
Just this much.
Just by this much. So, well, guys, remember, follow, like, and share. If you give us a 1-star or 5-star review, we're going to put you into a raffle for a t-shirt. If you're still on and listening to this, give us a 5-star, 1-star review. You'll probably get a t-shirt. So, we don't care if you just half like us. Remember to follow, like, and share, just like the end promo credits say. Remember to follow, like, and share the Why I'm Angry podcast across all social media platforms and anywhere you get your podcast. The Why I'm Angry podcast ends now.